And live stream. Here we go. Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to another edition of Ask Dr. Dansinger with diabetes reversal expert Dr. Michael Dansinger. He is with diabetesreversalpartners.com. So if you are in New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Virginia, Minnesota, New York, or Florida, and you are on Medicare and Medicare Advantage PPO plans, you can definitely take advantage of his weekly personalized diabetes reversal services. But here, we have office hours every single week, usually on Mondays. Today is a special circumstance because we're off Monday. But we have lots of questions we have to follow up on that are here for you. Dr. Dansinger, lots and lots and lots of questions. And I want to start with John's question. He is asking about fatty fish. What types of fatty fish are really good for people who have circulatory issues?
Thanks, Kim. Thanks again for the opportunity to answer questions from the PAD community. Let's get into it. So fatty fish, it's a great question. So, protein's important. And I think one of my top favorite types of protein is fish and shellfish, especially if it's wild caught. And it's because the fat in fish is so healthy. And I think it helps prevent clogging of the arteries, and it helps counteract the saturated fat, and it keeps the membranes of the cells nice and fluid. And so fish. So one of my favorites is wild salmon. Just about any fish or shellfish has beneficial fats in it. If you're a sardine lover, then definitely take advantage of that. Herring is another one. Trout, mackerel, those are all some of the top fish. So even lean fish like cod or haddock or halibut, those are good too. And so whatever fish tastes good to you is good. And part of the benefits of fat in fish is that it helps thin the blood a little bit. If you're taking blood thinners, then be sure to check with your doctor about how much fish or fish oil to take.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, Tabitha, you're going to love this question. We have Heinz here in the live studio audience, and this one was not you, so we know that. I don't eat fish or vegetables. So what type of diet could actually help me?
Yeah, it's a great question. If you don't like fish, you're not alone. Although I think most people like, at least one kind of fish or shellfish, whether it's shrimp or even canned tuna. But some people just, for whatever reasons, they want nothing to do with fish, or they're allergic and can't do it. And so too bad. It's a missed opportunity, but it is what it is. And so other healthy proteins, of course, can include, eggs, especially egg whites, tofu, and then there's the, poultry, lean poultry breast, I think is excellent. Lean red meat, including, pork tenderloin, lean beef, grass-fed. So you want to get protein, either vegetarian protein or animal protein. Oh, and let's not forget beans is an important source, and low-fat dairy. So all of those are important sources of protein, even if you don't eat fish.
And vegetables, how do you go without eating vegetables? There has to be some vegetable that, I mean, even I've even heard with kids, you can actually look up recipes for how to hide zucchini and spinach inside really good, tasty treats.
Yeah, that's what I would love to hear from other people about their tips and tricks. So, vegetables is probably the most important thing that we can eat. Very few people eat enough vegetables. It's challenging. And the good news is there's never been a better time in history to eat vegetables. And there's so many. You go to the supermarket, you might see 40 different types of vegetables out there. And so, be open-minded be creative. There's so many different ways to make vegetables, and I'm not gonna. Is a potato a vegetable? Most people love potato. I'm not going to count that as a legitimate vegetables,
Yeah.
but short of that, I will count everything else as a legitimate vegetable, even corn, beets, peas, turnips. So some of these vegetables have a, butternut squash. Some of these vegetables have some starch in it. I think it's fine for most people who are trying to fight peripheral vascular disease. But and then there's fruit. So fruit has some of the health benefits that vegetables have, and so at
Lots of
least
blueberries.
yes, at least have some fruit, especially berries. If there's no way that you're going to eat vegetables, so berries are definitely your friend. Kim, what are your thoughts here?
So, my favorite way to get vegetables in there, my mom had Crohn's disease, and she had this fear of eating any greens because she thought that was the culprit. But it turns out really wasn't necessarily the culprit, but it got to be where, yes, maybe in its whole form, it wasn't doing, it was irritating her stomach. But once I hid it in her smoothie, and the easiest way to hide greens, and I keep frozen spinach is less greeny in terms of its flavor because I think it's, the ice. You put it in with strawberries. So some strawberries and some blueberries. I also celery is a vegetable. A cucumber is a vegetable. So add celery, some cucumbers, some spinach into a blender. Add some strawberries and blueberries with some coconut water, which is really great. You could even start with some walnuts, just a few walnuts. You just need enough to make it a little milky and add 2 cups water. Blend that first, then add in your berries and your strawberries and your celery and your cucumber and some spinach. And you're ending up with a couple servings of your vegetables and even your fruits in the morning. I also add some flax seeds and some chia seeds in there, and I add some Ceylon cinnamon, and I add a little bit of collagen powder and quite a bit of raw cacao because you add raw cacao and that adds a lot of antioxidants and it helps to mask any other flavors that are in there as well.
I love it. Great tips.
But I
Absolutely.
like your tip of the turnips. You make mashed turnips.
Yeah, absolutely. I went most of my adult life before I realized that turnips are amazing. And I like to cut them into cubes and roast them along with other vegetables, and they turn kind of sweet and they're just delicious. And yes, you can make mashed turnips like mashed potatoes. Absolutely. For people with peripheral vascular disease who don't like vegetables, I'm very concerned about it because if it's one of the best treatments, non-medication treatments for peripheral vascular disease for prevention and reversal. So it's on you to figure out how to find solutions because all the things that make these fruits and vegetables colorful are important for artery health.
I mean, even if you have to eat a potato, grab a purple potato.
There you
I
go.
mean, there are little fixes, but I even add beetroot powder to my smoothie as well. I forgot that one. That even helps. You can even add one whole beet to your smoothie. That helps as well. You're right. I mean, Dr. Danziger, there are ways in which you can add vegetables and get those servings of vegetables. Yes,
Yeah.
it takes time. Yes, it's going to take a little creativity, but maybe our friend Heinz would even speak up here with how he comes to every one of these and he's not the biggest fan of vegetables, but Heinz, you even get your vegetables in.
Yeah, I had spinach the other night. I mean, cooked spinach. I eat my share of salads. Um, yeah, I do eat vegetables. There's a couple I won't eat. Brussels sprouts, asparagus, but everything else I pretty much eat.
Fantastic. Thanks, Heinz. And we have
That,
another question coming in
One more thing
from,
before we stop
yes.
on vegetable. I just want to say I feel vegetables are the only food group that are mandatory. I mean, you don't have to eat fruit, you don't have to eat animal protein, you don't have to eat dairy. Vegetables, you need to find a way to get those into your body. All right, Kim.
Period. Exclamation point. Okay, so Catherine says that she is 2 years nicotine free after smoking for 52 years. Yay, go Catherine! She's replaced cigarettes. You're gonna like this. Whatever works, I guess, but with Werther's original hard caramels. How awful are these? Thank you.
It's a great question. I'm chuckling. So the cigarettes are like the worst, and then candy, including caramels, are not as bad, but still bad. So it's all I for many people quitting. The most important thing is having quit cigarettes, and that is not easy, especially after 5 decades. And so, congratulations. And whatever it takes to quit smoking is worth it. And so, many people chew gum or suck on, candies or whatever it takes. And those candies are a small price to pay for quitting the cigarettes. So that's the most important thing I would say. I mean, it's sugar and you don't want any more sugar. And so maybe you can move on to sugar-free gum or chewing on carrots or, keep it, you're on a journey. And so I'm hoping that you can do the same. You can come up with a plan to move on from sucking candies and find something else to distract yourself from that habit.
How beneficial is it to have a glass of sprouted chia seeds before your meals or before maybe in this case even candy to help to your body process the sugars more effectively?
Oh, chia seeds, sprouted chia seeds. That sounds terrific. So, yeah, I like that idea. And I do not have many patients who have taken advantage of that opportunity, so I don't have that much experience, but it sounds really good. In general, sprouted, chia seeds are definitely healthy. They have healthy fats in there and fiber. And so they can be filling, and I think the intestinal bacteria love that sort of thing, sprouted seeds. And so, great idea. I think it's good. I think it's good. Kim, do you have any thoughts?
I am one of those that will have a glass of chia seeds in the fridge and I have a few sips before if I'm my meals. So I don't
Oh,
know if it works. It was just I learned from one of our vascular surgeons that he always tells his diabetic patients to do this. So I just happened to start doing it. I don't know if there's any clinical proof, but I've seen a bunch of YouTube videos that even say you can add some turmeric, you can add, cut up some turmeric, just add it in there just so it soaks in there and bleeds into it. A little bit of early harvest, hand picked, cold pressed, extra virgin olive oil, a little bit in there as well. So there are different methods, but it could, make it a little anti-inflammatory with those additions.
yes, excellent. Some of my patients have make chia seed pudding and they like that.
Yep. I add it to our yogurts. And if you leave it in, and if you have trouble with digesting, so one of the things that I do, with the yogurt is I get ground chia seeds. So if you have trouble digesting the big seeds, one, you should soak them. Make sure you do soak them before you put them, consume any chia seeds ever. And I usually try to do it overnight, but then even with the ground, I still make sure it's sitting in the yogurt for about 10-15 minutes before I use it. And I even make, you're gonna love this. I don't know if I've shared this with you. I even make now um chia seed chocolate cups where I make my raw cacao, I make my peanut butter cups, except the filling is actually chia seeds soaked in a little bit of coconut water mixed with spirulina and just a little squirt of raw agave just to balance it out. And then I mix in some raw cacao. And it makes it, and I let it soak, and it makes it very oozy when you break open the little chocolate cup. So good. Anyway, I'll have to I'll have to make them sometime and show you. They're really good. They're green inside, so you have to get used to the
Yeah, the
greenness, but
spirulina.
It's good, but you can make them even, you can put beetroot powder in for Valentine's Day. You can even have them red inside, which is great. So, Heinz says he doesn't soak his chia seeds. He throws them over his dry cereal, but I probably would soak them because they can be hard on your digestive system, in my opinion. So I would almost soak them just a little bit so they're a little mushy, easier to go down. Okay, berberine. Jan wants to know about what you think about berberine. Is it a good substitute for metformin?
It's a great question. So many people with diabetes or insulin resistance are interested in berberine, and it's a supplement. Almost every drugstore has berberine, and so you don't need a prescription for it. It's similar in some ways to metformin in the sense that there, berberine is increasingly studied, and there's a lot of interest in it. So, it's an extract. It's a powder that comes from plant sources, like many um, uh, supplements, and it does help with the cellular pathways that improve insulin resistance and blood sugar in the blood or sugar in the liver. And so you can think of it as being sort of a weaker version of the prescription metformin. Now, I like metformin. I like it better than berberine in terms of safety and effectiveness. So I'm a fan of metformin. And so for people who do not take metformin, berberine has many similarities. I think it works about a third as well. But the berberine you take, if you're looking to lower your A1C, berberine might lower your A1C by about zero point 0.2 A1C points, for example, from 6.5 to 6.3, maybe. And that's something. So there's enough research to say that. And some people think it can lower A1C more than that. That's not been my experience. Compared to lifestyle change, eating right and exercise, berberines, not in the same class as lifestyle change. It's not nearly as effective as metformin, but I think that there's enough safety evidence and enough, research to say I think there's something there and there's something to add. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Always
So,
ask your doctor if you're gonna take it. Be sure to clear it with your healthcare team.
yeah, and I would also run it by your pharmacist as well in case you're on multiple medications, because supplements can also
Right.
have interactions. And Annette is doing what she calls, and I hadn't heard of this, a diabetic plate method. And she says she also gave up all junk food, has been doing it for 5 years now, got her A1C down to 6, lowered her cholesterol to 56. How can she get it even lower?
Great point. So the when she asks can she get it lower, I think she's asking how to get the cholesterol lower. Do you think that's the question?
Could be.
Okay, so the diabetic plate method, I believe that's pretty much the same as what the USDA plate method um, recommendations for the last 10 years. So picture a dinner plate, and on half of it, you've got vegetables, and on a quarter of it, you've got um, uh, a starchy vegetable or fruit, and then on a quarter of it, you've got a healthy protein. So let's call that the plate method. And that's a healthy eating strategy. And congratulations on your progress, right? It's lots of vegetables and fruits and healthy protein and keeping starches, under control. And when eating, grains, keeping it to high fiber whole grains. And that can work very well. So congratulations. It can lower cholesterol. To have a cholesterol, below 70, I think that really requires, medications, statin medications is almost always involved when the LDL cholesterol is under 70. And so how can you get it lower? Eat right, exercise, take medication as prescribed, and keep focused on plenty of vegetables and lean proteins.
Okay, this one is an interesting question. Valerie is asking, what can I eat to gain weight? And I'm curious, once she says she honestly only eats for maintenance, nothing ever sounds good or tastes good except ice water. And the last person that had these same symptoms, the same exact terminology, just nothing tastes good, an interventional cardiologist diagnosed her with renal artery disease. Her renal arteries were significantly blocked. And as soon as she had those open, her tastes came back.
Wow, that's really interesting. That's an important insight. It's not unusual for many people who have lost their appetite and that food just doesn't taste good to lose weight and be interested in weight gain. Some people just need to gain weight. Most people are looking to lose weight and body fat. Some people are looking for weight gain. This case with the renal artery stenosis, where the artery to the kidney is blocked with atherosclerotic plaque, is something that people with peripheral vascular disease commonly get, or people with diabetes and kidney issues. That happens. And so I have never been aware of the link between the renal artery stenosis and the appetite. So that's an important insight. And it's probably not the main cause of someone who has lost their hunger, but it's something to think about. And doctors can listen with their stethoscope for clues about renal artery stenosis. It creates a sound of turbulent blood flow that you can sometimes hear. And the name of that is doctors call that a bruit, but it's just sort of a noisy blood flow through the artery, like the noise that a waterfall might make if you imagine turbulent flow. So you don't necessarily want a lot to gain a lot of. When you're looking to gain weight, the best thing you can do is gain muscle and not necessarily fat in your abdomen, but you want muscle. And so I don't recommend eating a lot of ice cream or sugar or starch to gain that weight, but to really continue to focus on protein, vegetables, fruits, and healthy fats. So be generous with the healthy fats like olive oil, avocado, nuts, and seeds, and all of those healthy fish that we talked about. Eggs, I think, are a good source as well. So it's not easy to gain weight when things don't taste good, but use herbs and spices and be creative and do exercise while you're trying to up your calories.
Okay, we have 3 more questions here. Nattokinase. She's still undiagnosed with PAD, working on it, but clearly she is having circulation issues that aren't good. What should she know about nattokinase? Because she's reading a lot about it.
Yeah, nattokinase is a supplement. I think you can buy it in certain, drugstores, and it comes from fermented beans. And this is something that was probably part of traditional Eastern medicine in Japan, for example, and it thins the blood. And so, whenever you're aiming to take a supplement to thin the blood, do not do it without the input of your healthcare team. So I worry about a supplement like nattokinase as a remedy or preventative for atherosclerosis, peripheral artery disease, and heart disease prevention. I just don't think there's enough good science and research to really. I don't feel comfortable with it, and so it's something that we need to know more about in terms of dosing and safety and what it's compatible with. I think it's an important question. There are probably others who have more experience than I do with this supplement, but definitely with something aiming to thin the blood, ask your healthcare team.
Yeah, and that's the best advice. And, if you want additional information on critical questions to ask about nattokinase, you can go to our YouTube channel and just search under Ask NP Deidre. She's a functional medicine practitioner and she focuses on supplements. And one of the entire episodes is all about nattokinase. And you can also, if you just want a direct line to her, it's just her YouTube channel is youtube.com/the @ uh, NP Deidre. That's what it is. So that's a good place for it. Two more quick questions. So I'm not sure if this one's going to be quick. Your advice for someone who's had 25 colon resections, remove part of the intestine that retains water. I just don't get the nutrients that other people get. And I'm required to eat like 5 times a day to keep my weight sustained. I'm 5'9", 129 pounds. I'm told to eat meat and potatoes and anything just fattening. Same kind of question, I guess, as the other. But with colon resections, I don't know if there's any modifications you would make to what you talked about in terms of helping to up the weight. She knows she's not eating healthy and she just feels like the rules are different for her.
It's an important question, challenging medical case. You're missing a lot of intestinal tract, and that affects nutrient absorption and digestion. And it's a little bit out of my expertise, but you want to do anything you can to help get healthy nutrients from food and from supplements as needed. And so food still remains primary. I'm imagining if you can manage with smoothies, if you're blending vegetables, pureeing them, it helps absorb them more easily. And same with healthy proteins. And if you need to use the blender in order to make it easiest for your system to absorb it, that makes sense to me. It's a little out of my expertise, though. And so, talking with other individuals, if there's online support groups about their experiences, can often provide tips and tricks that I don't know about.
Yeah, it's really important to get a dietitian when you have those special dietary needs, and you should be meeting with them a couple times a year to get updates and adapt your diet as things go, depending on whether you're better or worse. I think that's so important in those types of situations. Okay, um, peanut butter, yes or no?
Yes, I like peanut butter. With my patients, I'm typically saying I have mixed feelings about peanut butter. On the one hand, it's healthy fat. On the other hand, it's a lot of calories. And if you're trying to lose weight and reduce your insulin resistance, then that can be too much of a good thing. And so let's limit it to 2 tablespoons a day of nuts and peanut butter. And I think that's a good way to find a happy medium. I rarely tell people that peanut butter and nut butter is off the menu, and but it's hard to lose weight if you're eating too many calories, even from a healthy fat. So um, there's many other types of nut butters besides peanut butter, and so I do favor other nut butters. For example, almond butter or cashew butter are options as well.
Okay, and just final one, and this just is right in your wheelhouse. Good way to end is what's the best diet and what are the absolute no-nos and what not to eat.
Yeah, let's talk about what's the worst diet first. So the worst diet is what, the
What we started with, no vegetables.
the worst diet has a lot of fast food, junk food, processed food, and then any eating strategy that gets you away from a highly processed diet is going to be in your favor. And that's why there's so much debate about what's the best. But the fact is, there's dozens or even hundreds of eating strategies that are better than what, the typical American diet is. And so there's no one best eating strategy. It depends on the individual, but I always favor something that's limiting sugar, processed starch, and animal fat from meat and dairy. So My own research published in 2005 compared four very different eating strategies and showed very clearly that adherence to an eating strategy is the most important predictor of improvements in heart disease risk factors. And so finding a plan that you can stick to is the best. We've talked about vegetables, healthy proteins from animal and non-animal sources, healthy fats, steering clear of processed, highly processed starch, sugar, and fatty meats. So there's all sorts of variations on that theme.
And thank you so much, Dr. Dansinger. A great way to end this session. If you want more information on Dr. Dansinger and you are in New York, if you're in Minnesota, if you're in Virginia, if you're in New Hampshire, Massachusetts, or Florida with a Medicare or Medicare Advantage PPO plan, make sure you do go to diabetesreversalpartners.com and inquire about his personalized diabetes reversal programs. They're really effective and he customizes it just for you. He works with your non-negotiables, even if you don't like vegetables. But make sure you like the video, subscribe to both of our channels. Michael Dansinger, MD, that's his YouTube channel. Subscribe there, but also to The Way to My Heart. And have a great week, everyone.